Bear me for a minute. Giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Shai Bashem, Rakar Kwadash. Give me a second here. Okay. Excuse me. Giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Shai Bashem, Rakar Kwadash. I'm going to entitle this video, The Slave Bible. Say a few words on this book, an actual book, and the actual title is Select Parts of the Holy Bible for the use of the Negro slave in the British West India Islands. Now, before I go into that, I want to show you this here. Yeah, this video right here I was watching. This was put up by Unheard, entitled Inside Australia's co-internment camp. And the first scripture, this is a woman that experienced that. And the first precept that came to my mind is Revelation 2:10. No, she said she was in the camp for 14 days. She got a $5,000 or $5,000 fines. They basically put her in the prison, to force. And this is out of Australia. Anyway, if I remember, I'll leave the link in the description box. If I don't remember, you can go to Unheard. That's the name of the YouTube page. Another precept that came to mind is Revelation 12 to 12, 12 verse 12, 12 to 12. 12 verse 12. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring that up and read it verbatim. See, for you guys out there that are out there playing Israel, you're playing Israel, brother. This man is getting ready to come down on everybody. And we're in the time of the fulfillment of the rest of the book of Revelation. Let me start from the 10th verse, Revelation 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. Who is the accuser of our brethren? Esau, the Edomites. And it's talking about the elite. It's not talking about no regular Edomite walking down the street. It's talking about the elite. They put prayers around the clock for us to be destroyed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before the Most High day and night. So they're constantly putting the prayers, they constantly paying off Jake. They're doing everything for us not to wake up. But the more that they push us not to wake up, the more we wake up. And you know what? We're at a point now where if you don't wake up and you're an Israelite, we'll see you on the other side. We're not concerned about you. We're only concerned about the elect. Pursuant to Revelation chapter 7. Most High is dealing with the elect. He ain't trying to save all of Israel. It says 11 verse, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And he knows that he has but a short time because he knows the Bible backwards and forwards by him using his historians and his researchers and his archaeologists. They know that there was a actual Noah and his ark. They have evidence. They have receipts on that. 13th verse. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman, which are the Israelites, which brought forth the man child, which is our Lord Yahweh Shai. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. That's talking about 70 AD. The Lord told him, when you see the abomination that maketh desolate sitting in the holy place, and he quoted Daniel, he said, then flee ye into the mountains. So that's that great escape. So a certain number of Israelites took heed to the prophecy that Yahweh made. He said that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place. The wilderness is the interiors of Africa. We were gathered from the west coast of Africa, mainly Nigeria, Ghana, those regions. That's why a lot of you Jakes in America can trace your line back to the Igbo, which is another way of saying Hebrew. When we first got over here, they before they called you Negroes, they were calling you, because you came from part of Negro land, you were called Hebos. As a matter of fact, let me go right here. Bear with me for a minute. And I'm gonna get back right into the subject here. I believe it's spelled he bows for sale. Let's see what comes up. Shoot, may not come up. I think they took it out, these devils. Let me try this. Let me say let me put Negroes. Negroes. Yeah, they definitely took it out. Let me try this. Negroes for sale. Okay, it's hard to find this. They took it out. You had a sign that sold Negroes that they were calling Hebos. try one more time. Hebrews. They took it out. And the devil never, they never sleep, man. But if I went to that like maybe 6 months ago, and you put Hebrews for sale and it will come up. So they took that out completely because they're trying to stop the prophecies. Anyway, it says, and I'm jumping around. It says select parts of the Holy Bible for the use of the Negro slaves in the British West Indies Islands. Select, this is the name of the book. Select parts of the Holy Bible for the use of the Negro slaves in the British West India Islands, or the Slave Bible as we call it. Anyway, before I go into that, okay, this is a video that was put up by GMS Hawaii Ba, which is Yahweh, brother from Hawaii, the elder from Hawaii. So I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking I'm listening to an Edomite, but you can't see him too well, but it's actual Jake. So what I did was, what you brothers got to do too, when you get these videos, try to put in the link so you can click right on the link so we don't go crazy looking for it. Okay, this is another one. I don't want to deal with this. Yeah, what was the name of the Bridge Church? Okay, Bridge Church. Bridge Church. I'm gonna put in Israelite. Okay, this video was put up a year ago. And this church is located in New York. So it says, speak on it. Who are the Hebrew Israelites?
This is Mongolia, and we are not the only company in the we see a global kingdom of God agenda in which he wants to fly our people to himself. That's everybody, black and white.
You notice what he said. Now I'm going to jump to like the 1 minute 34 second of the video. He says that the Lord is gathering all people, both black and white. That's not scriptural. And you notice he covered black and white, Negroes and so-called white people, Jake and Edomites. They're pushing that agenda, the churches, and the church. See what convicts them is the fact that they'll go into the scriptures and they'll say this means this and that means that, which is going off. And the reason why they're so how can I say, obsessed with the whole Israelite thing because we have the truth. So people in the churches are starting to talk about it. You hear about them Hebrew Israelites? And most Israelites came out the church. So I'm gonna go right here to 1 minute 30 seconds in. Now he's gonna mention One West. He's gonna mention Abba Bivens. So let's listen. Then I'm gonna go and deal with the slave Bible. You know, they actually made a Bible to give to the slaves that took out certain precepts. One of them that they took out was what is that? Leviticus. Let me tell you right now. Exodus, I'm sorry, Exodus 21, verse 16. So let me let you listen. So this is Bridge Church. Speak on it. Who are the Hebrew Israelites? As if he's not one of them.
In fact, one group known as the Commandment Keepers would actually embrace Judaism wholesale. Now, in the 1960s, a gentleman by the name of Abba Bivens would lead the Commandment Keepers and start a group that he would later refer to as the Hebrew Israelites. Now,
so he mentioned Abba Bivens. We teach that Abba Bivens is the fulfillment of Matthew, the 17th chapter. I should say Matthew 11th chapter and Matthew, the 17th chapter, where it speaks about, as a matter of fact, let me go to that too. Oh, this right here. You know what? Let me open another. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, let me go to Matthew 17. The transfiguration. Okay, 10th verse. And his disciples asked him, saying, because they just saw the transfiguration of our Lord, and they saw Moses on one side and Elijah on the other. So this was noise abroad. So the disciples caught ear of it from the scribes and the Pharisees and so forth. It says, 10th verse, Matthew 17, verse 10. And his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias or Elijah truly shall first come and restore all things. What is he talking about in the 11th verse right here? He's not talking about John the Baptist. He's not talking about John the Baptist right here. He's talking about Abba Bivens. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. Because what he said that he came already, 12th verse, is talking about John the Baptist. And John the Baptist did not fall out the truth. As ISUPK, I don't know if they still teach that, but they went off terribly, man, by making a statement like that. John the Baptist should have followed the Lord. But John the Baptist fell out the truth. How can he fall out the truth when he's the fulfillment of Elijah coming back? The scriptures say, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man understand his own way? If the Most High makes you a prophet, you're going to be a prophet. You're not going to fall off. It says, 10th verse again, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? And Yahushua said, 11th verse, answered and said, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. So the restoration of all things is not John coming back. John came back, but he came back again. Elijah came back again as Abba Bivens. That's why we know the true teachers came out of One West. That's why all these different groups that come against Israel, they all focus on what? The One Westers. Let me bring this back. So they're definitely studying us.
In fact, one group known as the Commandment Keepers would actually embrace Judaism wholesale. Now, in the 1960s, a gentleman by the name of Abba Bivens would lead the Commandment Keepers and start a group that he would later refer to as the Hebrew Israelites. Now, Hebrew Israelites essentially believe that the people.
Oh, that's so convenient. So convenient. They took out the comment section. You can't make comments.
Slave trade. So primarily African Americans, but also other impacted groups like Puerto Ricans, and Native Americans, are also the real 12 tribes that they have been dislocated from their true identity. And because they have not abided by the law, that is why God is punishing them with various forms of oppression and injustice.
Yeah, because it's so they say the so-called Jews, the small hats, are the people. Well, what is this? Are we in the kingdom of heaven? No. So the Israelites are still under the curses. They're being oppressed. These small hats are not being oppressed. I've been into their communities, man. But trust me, they're not oppressed. They're not oppressed. I'm talking about these different communes of the various small hats, we'll call them, which are Edomites. They, trust me, they're not cursed. They're doing very good, very well. You know, the Deuteronomy, the 28 speaks of them, speak of that there's going to be a sign that you know that they're the Israelites. They're going to be referred to as in Proverbs and bywords. I mean, this is easy. This is easy.
That essentially is the central teaching of the Hebrew Israelites. That white people are the tribe of Judah, other groups are various other tribes, and that even white people find themselves in the Old Testament biblical story as Edomites.
They are Edomites. If you take all the scriptures dealing with Edomites, the description of Edomites, they point to so-called white people.
Oppressors of Israel at different points. Now, this group splintered into various groups. The key thing that all of these groups have in common.
Right, they splintered into various groups: IUIC, ISPK, GMS, HOI, LOI, HODC, Sakari, just to name some, just to name a few. And this is the fulfillment of Ezekiel 37.
is that they affirm this idea of
But the number one group is GMS. We're the only group that pushes heavily the MOTB. As a matter of fact, we used to do videos on it all the time. And now if you do videos on the MOTB, they take your video down right away. And the ones that are going to be delivered are the ones that have not taken the MOTB. You can read Revelation chapter 15, the first couple of verses, Revelation chapter 16, the first couple of verses, Revelation 14 and 9. I keep stressing that. And you other camps that's teaching otherwise, you're gonna have a rude awakening, man. You're gonna have a rude awakening. And some of them, at least one, General Yohana, the ISUPK said, go ahead and take it. When they came out with the vaccination, the first thing that he said concerning that was go ahead and take it. We know that the white man is the devil, but go ahead and take it anyway. That's what he said. So he's going to have to eat those words. He's going to have to answer for that, man. It says in Hebrews, obey them that have the rule over thee, for they watch for your souls. Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter says, warn them.
Black identity, and specifically a Black identity that co-opts or embraces the Hebrew story and narrative of the Old Testament of their own. Now,
of course, because it fits us. It fits us to a T.
There's something important to say about the fact that it's commendable for African Americans who oftentimes have had their identity denigrated and dignity to have that occur. That's an important thing, as well as for Latinos, as well as for Native Americans. The problem.
And the former One Westers, splinter groups, as he said, we're the only group that teaches that not just the so-called Negroes, but we teach. Oh, if you know anything about Yahweh Ben Yahweh, I remember when Yahweh Ben Yahweh was big back in the mid to early 80s. They were all over the place wearing the white robes. And you know what they taught? They taught, and I asked one of them, I said, they said that the Negroes are the Jews and are Israelites. And then I asked them, I said, what if you're West Indian, Haitian, or Dominican? I believe it was a brother and a sister, and they actually came to the One West school to say, oh, we want to get together, we want to go to Kennedy Airport, and we want to lay on the, this is what they actually said. We wanted to lay on the runway so the planes won't be able to fly. That's what they wanted to do. Anyway, they said if you're a West Indian, you're not an Israelite. If you're a Haitian, you're not an Israelite. If you're a Puerto Rican, you're definitely not an Israelite. If you're a Dominican, you're not an Israelite. Where you had the first group of slaves that came over here that was taken from West Africa to the Americas was to the Dominican Republic. That's why you see a lot of so-called Dominicans that look just like Jake, but they speak fluent Spanish. Those are Judites. So you have a lot of Judites among the Dominican people. And we're all over the place, man. We're all over the place.
That the way that Hebrew Israelites try to do that is by injecting a theological explanation for our suffering as a people, as if God punished us by experiencing the transatlantic slave trade and oppression.
Hey, you know what? Let me go to another precept. I'm not going to go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. I'm going to go to another precept. Well, Joel is a good one. Give me a second. Put in the word ball, and this is in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah, boom. Isaiah. So the word ball is written one time in the scriptures. Isaiah 22, verse 18. He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of thy Lord's house. The chariots will be glorified in the day that we're delivered. So we're on one side of the prophecy. He shall surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. The large country is America. Let me see here. Let me go to slave ships. The Lord will violently toss thee like a ball into a large country. There it is. If you take a ball, a basketball, a soccer ball, and you throw it in a body of water, it's going to float. It's not going to sink. So the same thing with a boat. A boat is made sort of in the shape of a ball, so it won't sink. It's called buoyancy. Esau's got to pay for this. You know, they stacked you in on top of each other because you were cargoes. You were less than a man. This is a major curse, man. You see Edomites, Edomite over there, and then you see Jake. And this is going to happen to you Edomites. Look at this. Look at this. Jake out there in the field. Those are Israelites. Those are Israelites. Violently tossed thee like a ball. Look at that. That's the shape of a ball. You got the Edomites up top. You got Jake bowed down, tied up. Look at this, man. Look at this. This is what you're going to have to pay. This is cargo right here. And this is cargo, human cargo on top. Let me try something here. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. And the term ships of Tarshish. Okay, found it. Isaiah 60, verse 9. Surely the isle shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord, thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. This is the kingdom. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish. So you're going to have cargo ships in the kingdom. Who are these that fly as a cloud, as the doves to their windows? That's the ships delivering us. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, just like they brought us back and forth from West Africa to the Americas in ships. We're going to bring them from different areas of the world uh, to be slaves under us. To bring thy son from afar. We were brought from afar, and they're going to be brought from afar. Their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. He hath glorified you. So Isaiah, the 60th chapter, is yet to come to pass. And the sons, 10th verse, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. The sons of strangers is talking about the other nations. And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, the Israelites, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. And this is why Esau is running scared now. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Because this is the end of our punishment and the beginning of your punishment. Look at that, man. An illustration of chained African slaves, which are the Israelites, in the cargo hold of a slave ship measuring 3 feet and 3 inches high. This is a fucking shame, man. Look at that. But we're not the Israelites. Look at that, man. The slave ship chart that kindled the abolitionist movement. These are the receipts. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Joel chapter 3. They sold a girl for wine that they may drink. The slave ship chart that kindled the abolitionist movement in 1788. These were Edomites that said, no, we got to stop this. Because a lot of them knew that we were the Israelites. You were enslaving the Israelites. Slavery, what were conditions like on slave ships? Well, if you Edomites asking that, they're gonna find out soon. Look at that. Got the Edomite up here, You got Jake. There's a wreck of slave ships found. These are the receipts right here. What I saw aboard a slave ship in 1829. Umbra searched African American history. You got children, young men, children. Slaves packed below and on deck. Slavery, slave ships, 1857. Painting and print. Okay, this right here are 5 slave ships uprising, slave ship uprising other than Amistad. So you had Jake in that movie. Amistad they were not Hamites. They were Israelites. So you had Jake that came up against Esau. It speaks about Esau being the enemy. That's us in the field. They got the yokes. These are yokes of wood, but they had yokes of iron. Okay, this is Clotilde, last slave ship from Africa. And you got this Jake here in slavery. He might be 30 years old, looking like he's in his 70s. Payback is a bitch, Esau. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. And they shall take them captives whose captives they were. So anyway, let's go back. Damn, did I lose it? Bear with me for a minute. Here it goes. Let's listen to a little bit more.
And also that by accommodating or appropriating these identities of other groups of people as our own in order to buffer or to secure our own identity. Now, there's a couple key issues that lay at the center of this. But one is just what this de-emphasizes God's part of the entire world. What we see in the Bible is that John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son that
boy, that's their go-to scripture. And when you look up the word world is mentioned a couple of times, a bunch of times in the scriptures. But you got to go back to the Greek. The word there for world is cosmos, which means a certain segment of things or people.
We see a global
among Israel.
kingdom of God which he wants to draw all people to himself.
That's not that's not scriptural. That's clearly not scriptural. And there's several precepts on that the Lord is only dealing with the children or the sons of Israel. That's why the Lord told the disciples, go not into the way of the Gentiles, neither into any city of the Samaritans, not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's only for Israel. See, the problem with these Christians are, that includes vocab and all the rest of them, they're in denial. When you show them a scripture, they dismiss that. No, we ain't dealing with that. That already happened.
That's everybody, black and white. Unfortunately,
you notice he said everybody, black and white. Like there's only two people on the earth, two races of people, black people and white people. See, his job is to try to save Edomites.
Hebrew Israelism seems to undermine that teaching by instead emphasizing on a sense of superiority or a sense of priority of God for people of color over everybody else.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me just put in boast. Let me just put in boast. They want to have a sense of superiority. It says, Isaiah 61 verse 6, but ye shall be named the priests of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, the other nations, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. Let me look up the word boast. We're going to have a feeling of superiority, just like Esau has today and right now. The word there is Yamar. To exchange, to enter into, be changed into, to promise. Change, boast. What the hell? Wait a minute. There we go.
Another problem is it tends to blur the distinction and the discontinuity that exists between the Old Testament and the New Testament. While it is true that the law is still of value, Jesus said, I did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. So what that means is that something significant happened when Jesus died on the cross and rose again. And that something significant means that our posture and approach to the law that we find in the Old Testament is different. And that approach now is one in which Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need for animal sacrifice. Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need to observe the different festivals because Jesus completed all of that. So in our response, we have to understand, first of all, that it's a Christ-centered approach.
Hold up, I got to listen to that again.
So in our response, we have to understand, first of all, there needs to be a Christ, one in which Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need for animal sacrifice. Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need to observe the different festivals because Jesus completed all of that.
Hold up, wait a minute. We're gonna observe these high holy days in the kingdom.
So in our response, we have to understand, first of all, there needs to be a Christ-centered approach.
There's going to be a holiday, a high holy day That's either Jeremiah 14 and 16 or Jeremiah 16, verse 14. Let's try Jeremiah 14 and 16. Let's see what that says. Oh, this is a good one. That's a good precept, but that's not what I'm looking for. It's 16, verse 14. Entitled, The Most High Will Restore Them. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is America, Babylon, and from all the lands whither ye had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So the 14th verse says, you know, we celebrated the Passover, but we're going to have a new high holy day celebrating the downfall of Esau. And that's going to be year from year from year. We're going to celebrate the, wait a minute. Another precept just came to mind. He said that, you heard him, he said that there's not going to be any animal sacrifices. There'll be sacrifices in the sense of the high holy days. Anytime you have to kill the Passover lamb, that's a form of, we're going to pray to the Most High. That's a form of sacrifice. But there's not going to be any sin sacrifice among the sons of Israel. Now, what just came to mind? Oh, of course, Zechariah 14. Zechariah 14. We can start at 12. 12 talks about the nuclear destruction. Even Hal Lindsey said that in the movie The Late Great Planet Earth. You can watch that movie on YouTube. I'll start from 14 verse 14, Zechariah 14 verse 14. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathens round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse. The plague is the destruction, the nuclear destruction of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. The plague is the missiles. And it shall come to pass that, and this is after this destruction, and then after the destruction, the kingdom comes, that everyone that is left of all the nations, the other nations which came against Jerusalem, the other nations, shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Let's hear this guy again.
And that approach now is one in which Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need for animal sacrifice. Jesus has fulfilled the law, so there's no more need to observe the different sacrifices because Jesus.
Well, I just read Zechariah 14, and it says not only us but the other nations. They're gonna observe the Feast of Tabernacles. So if they're gonna observe the Feast of Tabernacles, they're gonna observe the other high holy days, and they're gonna observe the new moons, which is a feast day. They're gonna observe the Sabbath.
look at. So in our response, we have to understand, first of all, there needs to be a Christ-centered approach to responding to this.
When he says Christ-centered, he's thinking about the Edomite. He's thinking about the Edomite, Caesar Borgia.
A Christ-centered approach realizes that in Jesus, all the curses of the law.
Jesus is a Renaissance name for Caesar Borgia. That's from a Renaissance language.
Of his will in him, which is why it says in 2 Corinthians 5:21 that he who knew no sin became sin so that we might become the righteousness of God.
The we are the Israelites. The we are the Israelites. Matthew 1, verse 21. He shall save his people from their sins.
So even if there was a sense of Christ established with Deuteronomy chapter 28, the central teaching of Hebrew Israelites, it still would not apply to Christians because Jesus has fulfilled the law. But if we look and examine Deuteronomy 28 even closer, we see that it is not a prediction about the transatlantic slave trade. Deuteronomy 28 finds itself in a portion of the text where Moses is explaining the blessings for obeying the commandments and the curses that would happen if they didn't obey the commandments. It would be like a parent saying, okay, if you clean your room, you will get ice cream. If you don't clean your room when you come back, you will have to sit in your room for 2 days.
And that's us. That's the latter. We didn't clean our room. So the Most High said, you're going to have to sit in the room. And you're going to have a Edomite beating your ass. Anyway, let me go to this. Okay, this is the slave Bible. Selected parts of the Holy Bible for the use of the Negro slaves in the British West India Islands. That's the full name of the book. We call it the slave book. It says sometimes referred to as slave Bible is a censored version. That means they took things out of it, of the Bible, specifically made for teaching a supposed pro-slavery version of Christianity to enslave people in the British West Indian Islands. Background. The book was published by a collective group of missionaries called the Incorporated Society for the Conversion and Religious Instructions and Education of the Negro Slaves. Just like you got your public schools now. In the public schools, they're teaching that it's all right for a man to be a woman, a woman to be a man. This is the great land of confusion in Matthew 24:10. The city of confusion. In the British West Indian Islands, Bill B. Portus was the president of this society. Now, this guy, Bill B. Porteous, was an abolitionist. He wanted the slaves to be free. But while they were in slavery, he said, give them a slave Bible. Bill B. Porteous, successively bishop of Chester and of London, was a Church of England reformer, like vocab, he's a reformist, and a leading abolitionist. When you look up the word abolitionist, they call for the freeing of the slaves in England. He was the first Anglican in a position of authority to seriously challenge the church's position on slavery. So he said, nah, they shouldn't be slaves. And why did he say that? Because he probably knew that they were the Israelites. And he knew that they were going to get punished for it. Was president of this society. It was produced in England in the early 19th century for use in the British West Indies. It had all references to freedom and escape from slavery, excised. While passages passages encouraging obedience and submission were emphasized. These references emphasizing loyalty and submission to the slave master Esau were instructions handed down by Porteus, who stated, prepare a short form of public prayer together with select portions of scripture, particularly those which relate of the slave duties toward the master. British missionaries used it in the education and conversion of the enslaved population, Israelites. So you didn't get the full scriptures. It says the editors included only 10% of the Old Testament and half of the New Testament. For example, among the excluded passages are Galatians 3 verse 28. And it says, it says it right here. It says, which states, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye all are all one in the Messiah, the Messiah. Exodus 21 verse 16. So I'm gonna pull that out. We know it anyway. We know it by heart, but I'm gonna read it. And he that stealeth a man, and that's what they did, and selleth him, and that's what they did on auction blocks, that's Joel, the 3rd chapter, or if he be found in his hand, we are still in this man's hand unto this day, so we were never free. He shall surely be put to death. Another one, let me see if I got it. Deuteronomy 23 verse 16. I want to go a couple of verses up. Okay, I'm gonna start the 15th verse. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. Now you had what was called the what was that called? The patty rollers, where they would come. That's where you get the patty wagon from. There was that was the origins of the police in America. Their job was to capture escaped slaves. Well, that goes against the law. 15 verse again, thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. So if he's escaped, he escapes. And then when they captured you, they would cut your foot off, they would cut your rod off, they would kill you, they'd beat you, and they'd put you in the heart of captivity. 16 verse. He shall dwell with thee even among you in that place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. Thou shalt not oppress him. So you wasn't supposed to oppress us. What's that in Ezekiel 35, I believe that is, or 36, Ezekiel 35 and 5. I'm not going to go to it. You can put it in the comment section. Let me read on, a couple more laws. 17 verse, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Now, if you a priest of the Lord and you had a daughter that would play the whore, you burnt her. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord. In other words, you're going to deal with a whore, you don't bring her into the house of the Lord. Into the house of the Lord, that power for any vow, for even both these are an abomination unto the Lord, thy power. Another thing that Esau is guilty of, because Esau says, oh, we're all neighbors. We're really brothers. We all come from the same blood, Abraham's blood. So we're all brothers, black and white together. So wait a minute. Why are you charging interest? It says, thou shalt, 19 verse, thou shalt not lend upon usury interest to thy brother. Usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of victuals and money is inflation, hyperinflation. That's usury because you got to pay more money for things now. Usury of anything that is lent upon usury. It says these scriptures, Exodus 21 verse 16 and Deuteronomy 23 verse 16 to 17, were also removed. The publishers of the Slave Bible thought these sections, such as the Exodus, the book of Psalms, and the book of Revelation, could still enslave a dangerous hope for freedom and dreams of equality. Passages like Ephesians 6 verse 5, servants be obedient to them that are your masters. They left that in, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of heart, as unto the Messiah, were retained. The Museum of the Bible, during a 2018 exhibition called the Slave Bible, Let the Story Be Told, exhibited an example for 1807. The Bible was one of 3 copies of this version and is owned by Fisk University. Oh, wow. Fisk University is a private, historically Black university in Nashville, Tennessee. The university was founded in 1866, and its 40-acre campus is a historic district listed on the National History Register of Historic Places of Black Colleges. You got to read the rest of it. It was printed by the Law and Gilbert of London. You know what comes out of London? Both the Black Apocrypha, as we call them, the Red Apocrypha, both come from London, from England. If you take the Red Apocrypha, I think that's Cambridge, and the Black one, I think that's you got Cambridge and then Oxford. So why to this day they're printing up, as I speak, they're printing up apocryphas. Somebody's reading these apocryphas, and they didn't print these apocryphas up for Israelites. They printed them up for these Edomite educators, these professors, for the Society for the Conversion of Negro Slaves. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.